In Superior, residents could see a roughly $26 per month utility bill spike if a new rate increase goes into effect. Now today, Northern News Now's Michaela Wrench witnessed community members sounding off on that proposal.
Residents across Superior are speaking out about Superior Water, Light and Power's proposed rate increase, saying they're already making sacrifices to deal with inflation.
Less electricity, flush the toilet fewer times, do fewer dishes, maybe turn the heat down to 68 in the wintertime.
We're not a wealthy community. There's a lot of poverty. People don't have the money. We can't afford things as it is. Certainly can't afford this.
SWLMP's proposed amount would be an overall increase of 5.9% across all three utilities. That averages to about $26 a month for a Superior resident, an increase that SWLMP says is needed.
The investments that we make in our system are to ensure that customers continue to see the same service that they see today.
Jocelyn Scandell with Superior Water, Light and Power says those investments include replacing a water main that hasn't been updated since 1891 and increasing gas pressure to ensure warmer homes during colder months. But Superior's Mayor Jim Payne doesn't like it.
It's not necessary. This is not the only utility in northern Wisconsin. The city of Superior operates utilities.
Payne says the city of Superior actually lowered utility costs last year and hasn't raised them in years, and that this will only create more issues.
Steady rate increases, especially of this size, are simply unsustainable. This is not inflation, it's just irresponsibility.
In Superior, Michaela Wrench, Northern News Now.
SWLMP responded to the mayor's comments about the city possibly taking over utilities, saying in part, quote, "The company has managed utilities in Superior for 130 years, and we believe we have been a strong community partner of the city." They go on to say, quote, "Changing what works in Superior should be a lower priority than addressing other problems that residents face." And you can find the full statement at northernnewsnow.com.